Hi everybody, it's Amy at Crafty Cat. So this is a little video. I've had loads of questions and issues, well not issues, but you know, people struggling to figure out how to buy the digital downloads and things like that. I'm not on my Etsy, I'm on Rachel at Roxy Creations Etsy because I wanted to purchase her fussy cut Victorian ephemera printable. And so I thought that would be a perfect time for me to just show you how I do it. And I'm sorry, I know the camera's probably shaking and this is awful, but I have to hold it. I don't have it on my tripod or my arm at the moment. So I apologize. I just wanted to do this with you guys so that you can see if you haven't done it before, because I've had loads of new people that, you know, don't either know how to do this or haven't ever done it. So I just thought I would go ahead and do that, because you know, we want everybody to know how to play. So anyway, you pick whichever design you want, so you can go to anyone's Etsy shop and find designs that you like, and then you're just gonna say, where's my mouse, there we go, add to cart, and then I'm going to proceed to checkout. I just want to make sure my information's not on there. All of a sudden you may be looking at my desk, so okay. I'm just going to put it here so you can see, sorry, place order, which I'm sure, you know, most of you know how to do this. I'm just saying, I just want to make sure that everybody knows, because you know, I do get a lot of questions. So you come to this page and it says, thanks for your order. Then you can view your digital files now. So when you click on that, you're going to come to this page, and you know, Rachel has a nice thank you for purchasing her Etsy, and then you might have to wait a minute. You're going to see these and they're not ready yet. When they're not, when you can't click on them, you know, when you come on here and you can't do anything, then it just means that those files are downloading to Etsy. So it sometimes can take a few minutes. So we'll come back up here, and it says, hang tight, your files will be ready to download in a few minutes. We just need to confirm your payment. So they make sure that it's paid for before, you know, before they'll download it to you. So, and sometimes if you go up to your refresh in the corner over here, sorry, I really stink at this, trying to do it this way. It's up here, and then my hand's shaking. Okay, so I refreshed it, and now you can see these rectangular boxes that say download, and they're much darker, like the black print has become apparent. So I'm going to say download, and then I have a place, see, it's Rachel at Roxy Creations, so I'm going to click on that and tell it to open that and save. So it's downloading right here, and then I'm going to download the second one, and it's going to go to the same place. And I'll just tell it to save and download the third one and tell it to save. So now I might have to go in and make sure that they're all in the file that I want them in, and I leave them down at the bottom of my screen down here. You can see them. They came up down there. They're like little boxes, and they tell you Victorian fussy cut zip. And so I'm going to leave them down there until I go and check my own file, just to make sure that they're in the right place and that I have them and all of that. And then I'll close the X up at the top. If for some reason this doesn't work and you can't get it to happen, Etsy always sends an email, and it'll say download your files now or something to that effect on that email, and then you can download those files to your computer from the email. So that's another way that you can do it. If for some reason you can't get this to happen, then you can go to your email and do it that way. And it's the same for all people who do digital downloads on Etsy. It comes up this same way. At least it has for the ones that I've seen. So I'm assuming that they are all the same when they come up. So I'm going to turn off my camera, and then I will come back on in just a second with some more information. Just a minute. Okay, hi, I'm back. I hope that was helpful. And I also have lifted up my camera, so let me know if that's better. I don't know. This whole camera thing, I mean, nobody's complaining or anything like that. I just want to make it good for you guys to watch. It felt like it was really close, but I don't know. Anyway, let me know. I can't help some of the slope. Like, I know there is a little bit of a slope, but just the way my camera is, I really can't do anything about that. I've tried, as a lot of you know who've been with me forever, that I've tried multiple times to change it, and I can't get it really much better than it is right now for that. It's more the distance and stuff, so let me know how that is. All right. I've also had a request to do a video on what you need to start out junk journaling. Like if you've never done it before and you want to start out. So you really don't need a ton of fancy stuff. You don't need all the old stuff. You can just sort of collect that over time. That's what I've done. When I started, I really didn't have any old stuff. I mean, I had stuff in my own, you know, from my family and things like that, but I didn't want to like cut those things up and stuff. So anyway, you can use like cereal boxes for covers. This one's kind of thick unless you really want like a chunky big journal. Then you can use this as your spine. Cut off this side and, you know, cut it to whatever height this way you want and width or whatever. And then you can use that as your spine, and you know, it'll open and close like a book. So you can just have like cereal boxes, cracker boxes. Just look at that side and see about how wide you would want your spine. You can also start with things like a composition notebook. This one has been coffee dyed, so it just looks kind of wavy and coffee dyed. But you can, you know, cover the front really cool. I kind of like the way this came out on the inside. So that was good. The other thing that's a bonus about using composition notebooks is if you open them to the center and snip all the little strings that go down the center, just take a pointy little scissor and snip, snip, snip. And I didn't even get all of them. But once you get most of them, it'll just lift out of the cover of the composition notebook. And the bonus of this is that then you can take these pages and coffee dye them. And all you have to do to coffee dye is, you know, like I sometimes get like a roasting pan, a big roasting pan, or you can use those plastic lids that come on the roasting pans. That's what I used at first, because then, you know, you don't have the metal and all that. It's plastic and you can just toss it. After, you know, if you use it a few times and it cracks or whatever, I would use it multiple times until it would just kind of fall apart, and then I'd toss it. But anyway, you just want to put these in the roasting pan, kind of one at a time. Get coffee, you know, pour your coffee in and submerge it all the way, and then put the next piece in and submerge it. You don't want to like, I mean, I've seen people do it, but sticking the whole stack in, because you're going to end up with spots that stay totally white just because the paper is going to like stick together in certain spots. So I like to separate them and do them one at a time. Another cool thing I saw, and I'm pretty sure it was Gail Agustinelli has a video on it, where you take a composition notebook before you take it apart, you leave it in its, you know, whole state, and take a big paintbrush, dip it in coffee, and just, you know, paint the entire thing front and back with a paintbrush. And that's another really cool effect. And then, you know, you kind of need to leave it outside or somewhere that it isn't going to ruin flooring or carpeting or, you know, whatever. Obviously, you're not going to put that on carpet because it's all wet. But I'm just saying, you know, you just need somewhere to place it while it dries. And if you live in a wet climate, I would suggest, you know, either using hair dryer and drying it, or you know, just make sure you're flipping through the pages to try to get it dry, that kind of thing. The only problem is they get really weak when they're wet, so you have to be super careful because they will stick together, and when you're trying to flip them, they can just tear. So like probably a hair dryer or something like that would be needed in that case, just so you don't end up with mold between your pages. If you live where it's really dry like I do, I can pretty much get this all wet and, you know, put it somewhere to dry, you know, maybe in the sun in a window or something, with some plastic under it. And just let it dry and it'll dry. I did a whole stack of tea-dyed paper that way the other day and it was fine. But I don't live in a wet climate, so I can get away with that. But if you live in a dry climate, you might even want to bake them. And if you're going to bake coffee-dyed or tea-dyed papers, you want to put them in the oven. What I usually do, and everybody does it different, and Gail's got a whole video on it, Gail Augustinelli, so if you go to her channel and look for coffee dyed paper, she shows how to do all that. I do it a little different, but I just turn the oven on to like 350, let it come up to temperature, and I turn it off because I'm a dingling. And I know if I stick paper in the oven, I'll probably forget because I'll get doing something else and I'll burn down the house. So I turn it off and put the paper in the oven. And then, you know, go flip it and stuff like that until the oven cools down, which, you know, can not be very long sometimes. So it just depends on how much paper you want to do. If you're doing lots, then you're probably going to have to stay there and just have it on a real low temperature just so it's warm in the oven, and just keep, you know, putting it in and out and all that. Anyway, that's a whole nother video. So you can use those for covers and paper, and then you can also use things like this for covers. You just take out the little metal thing right here, and you can either close it or you can use that as a pocket, but then when you fold it in half, it gives you a good fairly thick cover, and you can cover it with tissue paper. Like decoupage is usually the best way to do these, but you could do one plain like this. It doesn't have to be covered, and you could just glue some things on that you liked or whatever. Start simple, like don't make it completely daunting. I did this as my first journal, and yeah, it was a little crazy. It took me weeks and weeks and weeks because it just, you know, it's all stuff you learn. But you can see most of my paper in here is just coffee dyed, like lined composition notebook paper, and coffee dyed copy paper. This has some like eco, I didn't even do real eco dye. I just pressed flowers in there, so I didn't even do real eco dyeing. But you know, all different papers. You can use scrapbook papers. I would use thinner ones rather than thicker, and maybe not as many, like for the beginning of a signature. It's a nice way to do it. And a signature is this portion right here that you can see is sewn into the spine. This grouping of papers right here is called a signature. So this book has 4 signatures. You can see they're all 4 there. So, sorry, you can't really see. All right, so you can use any paper you have. Don't think you have to go buy a whole bunch of stuff, because you really don't. You can just use some doilies. You can use magazine pages. You know, like I have family photographs in there. You can use old book page if you have it. You can use digital downloads. And at the time that I was doing this, I hadn't even started using digital downloads yet. So most of it, like this is a picture from National Geographic that I sanded with sandpaper and inked all over, and I just did some hand stitching to make that tuck pocket right there. I mean, just play with it and put whatever you want. This is a book page. This is again more coffee dyed copy paper, and I just added some extra pieces that I cut off from the lined paper and put 2 strips of it together and then glued them at the top, bottom, and side to make a little tuck there. I mean, keep it simple. Oh, this is like tissue paper right here that I had, and I made a little pocket out of that too. So just tissue paper is a good thing to use. Junk mail is really good, like, you know, things like this. You can make pockets out of these. I'm not going to flip this one over because it has our address on it, but you know, you can do like this kind of thing, fold it up and turn it into a pocket and glue it down onto your page, and you can have a tuck back here or at the side, you know, all kinds of things like that. So that's just junk mail. Envelopes, you've seen lots of people, I'm sure, do things using envelopes. So envelopes are great. Book pages are great things to use. And then tools that you will need are like a binding kit. So this is an awl, and a lot of people have fancier kits than I do. I got this one on Amazon. It was just a really simple one. It came with these needles, the awl, and these two threads, and they're waxed. Both of these are wax threads. You want a thread that's pretty tough, like an upholstery thread or this wax thread. And if you go on Amazon and put in bookbinding kits, I'm sure, you know, lots of things will come up. And I'll try to find this one. I've had it for a while now, so I'm not positive whether you can even get this particular one. But I'll link a bookbinding kit in my description box below. So if you go below the video, on the right hand side there's a little arrow. Just click on that. That'll go into my description box, which is where I leave a lot of information a lot of the time about a video that I've just done. So like maybe a tool I used, a paper I used, whatever. I have this upholstery thread. It looks like regular thread, but it's really thick and strong. You just want something that's not just going to snap, because you have to tie those signatures in pretty tight to get them to stay. You can also use like embroidery floss is another thing to use. So you definitely need that. And I use a book that, you know, you can see it's got a million holes poked in it from me poking poking into it. So that's kind of what I use to start out. Now I have, my husband printed me one of these, and it's a book cradle. So now when I bind, like if I have a piece of paper, I'm just going to fold this paper in half just to get an idea, and it's not even in half completely, but you know, you're getting the idea. So I can just measure. You have to measure and find out like where the middle is, and then I usually come 1 inch down from the top, and then, you know, if there's more paper in here, this pokes easier, but so it pokes holes like that. So then you get a nice right along the spine, you get the poke, instead of sometimes I've had it happen where, especially when you're poking through a whole stack of paper, not that bad, but you come out from the side, and you don't want, you know, you want to try to keep them as straight as possible, obviously. I mean, if you come out a little bit off the very center line when you're using like a book or whatever, you know, that's just going to happen, because it's just really hard to stay directly on that center line when you're poking through a whole stack of paper. So, you know, a tool like this is nice. Not necessary though. You can just use a book or a foam pad, like a mouse pad, just something that you can poke into that'll have some give, so you don't just hit hard, because you're not going to be able to get through that way. So you'll need those tools to bind with. Clamps of all different sizes are good. I use these ones a lot when I'm like holding lace on or pockets on, you know, when I'm just waiting for them to dry and they want to pop up on a corner or something. These are great. The bigger ones are good for when you're binding your book, so you'll need some clamps, all different sizes, whatever you have, or, you know, whatever will work. That is good to have. Rulers, and you can use a metal ruler. The good part about metal rulers, and I got this at the dollar store, is that you can tear paper with it too. It's a lot easier to tear with the metal one. And then I do have these tear rulers, and I got these off of Amazon, and I'll leave the link below. They're We Are Memory Keepers. You get 3 different rulers, and they all have different edges, you know, to tear. And then you get a water pin with it to wet along so that it makes the paper easier to tear. I mainly use this one little one, and I don't have to wet it to use that one. It tears fine, and this one tears pretty good too. Rulers, so this is just another example of a ruler. Glue. So my favorites are art glitter glue, because you can get the metal tip. I've noticed on Amazon that now they're selling the art glitter glue without the tip, and they make you buy the tips separately. So that's kind of that's all I'll say about that. Tacky glue is my other favorite. This is kind of a go-to for, this will glue anything, I'm pretty sure. Because I haven't found anything it won't glue. I mean, you know, maybe wood or something, because I haven't tried that, but I'm just saying it glues and holds very well. And then this is my favorite glue stick, the Scotch Create. But you can use any adhesive that you like. Like if you like to use the tape runner types or whatever, you can use whatever you want. It's just I prefer like a wet glue or this particular glue stick because it holds really well and I don't have any problem with things falling apart, which I have had that happen with like tape runners and things and different glue sticks. I ink, so I like my dauber, which I got from Amazon. It's a Tim Holtz dauber and you can get the little replacement foams for it, and I use Tim Holtz Distress ink. I mainly use Vintage Photo. I don't have a whole ton of colors because that's really mostly what I use. You're going to need scissors, obviously. I like these Fiskars ones with the itty bitty edge. You can see I've been cutting gluey stuff, so they need to be cleaned. But because these are good for fussy cutting. So if you want to do fussy cutting, like those images that I got from Rachel, those will need to be fussy cut. So that kind of scissor, just a regular any size scissor, whatever. These are my fabric scissors, and I write fabric only all over them so that hopefully my family doesn't use them, and I do things like put things on there, so hopefully they will look and see that these are fabric scissors. But you know, you can use any scissors that you like. You're just going to need scissors and probably a cutter. There's lots of cutters out there. I don't know, mine's downstairs because I was cutting paper, but you know, the big paper cutters. You can get the guillotine style or, you know, the sliding cutter. And I mean, to get started, that's really all you need. Like, I don't think, you just don't really need a lot. Don't go crazy buying stuff until you know that this, you know, you want to keep doing it, and then you can just slowly collect stuff. And if you're a paper crafter to begin with, you know, if you have scrapbooking paper and stuff, use that. Oh, you'll probably need like an X-Acto blade type thing. Those are, you know, wonderful to have, obviously. Yeah, that's kind of all I can think of. If anybody can think of other things that you have to have to start, put it down in the description box below so that people can see if there's other things that I'm forgetting, because it's very possible that I am forgetting stuff. I got the ink, I got the glue, I got the scissors, this. You can use old books, you know, the covers, or I even sometimes get books at the dollar store and gut them, and then you can use those for covers. Yeah. I think that's about it. If there's something I forgot, which I'm sure there is. Because, yeah. Alright, so I'm going to do a little collaging just to finish out this video. So if you're done with me, I understand. But anyway. And I know I've been doing a lot of collaging, and some people like it and some people don't. I don't know. So I'm just going to do some more, and I'll try to separate things. Oh, I'll show you where I'm at with the journal that we're working on. This, you know, I didn't do all this on video because I did a lot of stitching on this, and I've never done one of these kind of covers before like this. So I would place things down like I thought I wanted them and then go stitch. Like, you know, I stitched this piece on back here and then I stitched this one over it. So it was just a lot of setting stuff and then stitching, setting stuff, stitching, you know, so it was just kind of a process, and I knew that that wasn't going to make a good video because I would be turning it on and off. I didn't just like put everything down and go stitch it. I did it in stages and steps. So, but that's, stitched all of that onto that tea cloth that I showed you guys the other day. And then the inside's not done yet. And then you can see I've just kind of glued it around, and I'll be fixing more of that and putting paper here. So it's not done yet, but that's where I'm at with that. Okay, and I did add some other pages in here. I added, let's see. Oh, I did this little pocket. This little pocket is done by using a die cut that's meant to be kind of like a frame for a picture, and I've done this before in a video. I just cut an area open and then used my teeny tiny hole punch and punched a hole at either side to make a pocket instead of using it like a, you know, a place for a picture or whatever. So then that way I can glue all these down because they're kind of you know, lacy or whatever. I don't want them to get caught on stuff. So those are all glued down, but then this is a pocket right here, and just put a couple of tags in there. Decorated that up. So I added a few more like Medieval Mirage pages. And the reason I did not make a video yesterday is my daughter and I had to go to the DMV. That place, I am telling you, 3 hours we sat in the DMV. Yeah, nothing puts me in a worse mood. So needless to say, I was not exactly in the kind of mood to come on and do stuff on camera. So anyway, I'm just showing you. I kind of added some other papers in there that are very pretty because their Medieval Mirage does a beautiful job. So I still have obviously a lot of work to do in this one, but that's kind of where we're at. Like I said, I didn't get a whole lot of anything done yesterday because of that place. So anyway, so I thought I would use some of Denise at Wondubar Crafts Digi, and it's Spring Blooms Friendship. So yeah, that's very pretty. All right, so I think I'll use my tear ruler, and we'll just do some collaging. I think I'm going to save these flowers over here because I might have another idea that I want to do with those. So let's start with a dragonfly. So I hope all of you are having an awesome day. Sorry I did not greet you. That was rude. I just get, as I've said a million times, I have something in my mind that I want to tell you guys, and then I just get rambling, and you know how that goes. But I hope that was helpful for beginners and stuff, because I really do want to encourage people to do it, because really you don't need a lot of expensive stuff. I'm looking for a book to glue on, sorry. To do it. So, you know, I mean, we all buy stuff, but you don't have to buy a lot of stuff. You just can use what you have. I think I'm running out of glue paper is what my problem is. Book pages is what I'm trying to say. Oh, here we go. So, yeah, I thought I had everything ready, but of course not. And then, you know, some of the stuff comes to you over time. Like when I started, I didn't, you know, use the glue book. It was because I saw Rachel and Gail doing that. I learned that from them, and they are wonderful people to learn from. Gail just has a million videos that are super helpful. So, yeah, she's very helpful. And you know, there's lots of people that do all different techniques, and you know, everybody just does things a different way, and that's awesome. So, you know, you don't have to do it my way. My way isn't, I'm not saying my way is the right way. I just am showing you things that I do that might give you ideas or places to start from. But that doesn't mean you can't do something else entirely. Like, just do what you like to do. And some music paper or something. I don't, all my collage stuff I think is downstairs. I left it because I was collaging last night. This music paper is cool because somebody wrote all over it. And you know, if you've like collaged for a long time or something like that, then just do it your way. Like, do it the way you like to do it. I'm just excited because so many people have, you know, come to me and said they're just beginning and just new subscribers and stuff. So it's just exciting because obviously I want people to continue doing this craft because that makes it better for all of us, I think. Just more stuff is available, and you know, so I'm excited that so many people are doing it. And I'm going to refrain from inking on everything. I will do that after the pieces are done and I decide what I'm going to do with them and all that, because that gets real tedious to watch. And I've noticed from day to day that I do my technique different. like sometimes I go, you know, all the way across this way, sometimes I do this way. It just depends on how the paper is like wanting to be. I don't know how else to say it but that. I know that sounds cuckoo, but it kind of really is true. And I'm working on a digital download with buttons, so that's what this paper is from, and I just thought it'd be fun to use. I don't know when. I've got like 3 digital download things going at the moment, and it's like, just finish one. It'll probably be the Purple Ladies will probably get done this weekend, so this one's going to take me longer because I have ideas, but I haven't totally figured out what I want to do yet. So that always makes it interesting. I don't know that I want this whole piece. What's this piece? But you know, use what you've got. Don't, I mean, you don't have to buy things. I mean, of course you can. You just don't. You don't have to feel like you have to go buy all this old stuff. It just, I've kind of collected what I have over time. And if I see something at an antique store for a decent price, because some people really try to gouge you on that stuff, so you have to be careful. I'm just grabbing some of my old papers. But yeah, just use what you've got or whatever. I think I have about used up a lot of my old, I have a lot of scraps that are like manila file folder and things like that. But that's about it. Hold on just a second. Okay, hi, I'm back. Sorry about that. I just had to go get some more of my papers. What in the world I was thinking. Well, I wasn't. I was just trying to think of things for the, you know, what you need kind of things. So that was the issue. Because my brain's like a sieve. Some things catch, some don't. So yeah, we had to get star cards yesterday. I mean, my daughter had to go because she turned 18 and she registered to vote and did all that, but I was like, well, I might as well get a star card since I have to go there. So that's what I did. Put that one across there. But yeah, that place, I'm telling you, it was packed, and it's always just a zoo. I don't know why, but it is. It's like, I don't know. Well, you all know what it's like. Everybody knows what it's like. And these people want you know, they want more things done by government. I just am like, wow, they can't do the DMV, man. I don't know. I don't know who's right, but pretty papers. Love collaging with all these pretty papers. So yeah, hope your guys' day yesterday was a little better than mine. I mean, mine wasn't horrible, it just was long and arduous. But I'm glad we got it done. It's good to get the star cards. I told my husband he's going to have to take my son this summer when, because he needs his driver's license. And so I'm like, you're going to have to go do that one so that you can get your Star card before, you know, time's up. It's October is when you have to have them by. So, it's like, you need to do that. Take him. Oh, seriously? I don't want to do that. I know, if I'd measure, I wouldn't have that problem. One of these days, maybe. Probably not, but we can pretend. It just, that whole thing ruins it for me. Like, it makes me not want to do it when I do too much measuring. I just lose interest, I guess. This is Medieval Mirage. And I know I cover stuff and all that. It's just when you're collaging, you're going to end up covering something somewhere because there's always going to be something where you're going to overlap. So you just kind of got to go with it. Because if you overthink it and think I'm going to overlap that and that won't work, then it won't ever work because you're just spending so much time trying to not overlap, whatever. So I just kind of do it. But again, everybody needs to do it their way because that's what makes us happy. Alright. I liked this purple in here. This is Medieval Odyssey. I'm sure you can see that. And like I said, I tend to do it different every time, it seems like, so. Long strips, not long strips. I mean, I just do whatever, so I don't know. Whatever I'm liking at the moment. Trying to grab every glue but this one. Yucky. Little flower is cute. Maybe some Tim Holtz numbers. Let's see. Just going to take off these very little edges here. biggest trick with this ruler is holding down very hard the paper underneath, because it will just take off on you. So got this little tiny dictionary that's kind of fun because it's so tiny. It tears really easy. Sorry, I'm just looking at these, trying to decide what I want. I think we'll do dragonflies down here. With all these pretty flowers. I don't really want to tear either one of them. I'm going to end up tearing them. That's really big though. Maybe if I just kind of something like that. Yeah, something like that. Just come up here. Sometimes I do that too. I place stuff. Other friends know. Tim Holtz. Yeah, this would be pretty. Tim Holtz wallpaper. I think you can still get this. It's pretty easy to find. So I hope this has been helpful today. And I know a lot of the seasoned veterans will probably be bored, but I guess you can, you know, do what you like. Watch somebody else. I'm kind of just going to go like that with that one. These particular collages I'll probably use in the journal, or you know, somehow through cards, journaling cards, tags, or something. I am working on a custom order for collage as well, so I usually work on that at night when I'm watching TV, just because it's a easy thing to do. Oh, it is wider than that, huh? A little bit of that. Like the brown at the top. Maybe I will just take it off entirely because I've got an idea. So this needs to come off. Okay. I can go down. Find the least sticky spot. Very pretty papers, Denise. I love these. I love this right here. It's so cool. I mean, she always does beautiful papers. It's not like it's new. I just really like that one. There's this little spot right here. I think I'm going to have to do them like separate because I just can't get it right. And this edge is so straight, it's bugging me. What do I want right there? Oh, I know. Fun to use. I can find them now. I'm going to use this little butterfly on here. I mean, I could just use a butterfly from somewhere, but I like this green color of this one. Like that. Alright, there's that one all done. I like it. Okay, so I think we'll stop there today, and then the next video I do, we'll do, you know, more work in the journal. So I hope you guys have an awesome day. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe, and let me know what you thought if this was helpful. Thank you. Bye-bye now.